everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. And before we get going, just want to remind you guys we're on the quest for 18k subs before the year's out. So if you haven't hit that sub, I believe like almost 2/3 of you are not yet sub. Please do. It helps the channel out a ton. But anyways, let's go to the topic of the video. As you can tell by the title, Shaman has outright broken standard Hearthstone. It's out of control. I made a video like this week in Hearthstone. Last week we talked about Shaman Stone returning. Maybe, you know, let it sit for a bit and then we can assess it, but it's only getting worse. Shaman is just ridiculously out of control in standard, and it's kind of problematic. And the popularity of the deck is to the point where it's at that, like, aggro Demon Hunter kind of level. It's that prevalent. So let's go into why it's happening, what's the problem, how crazy is it right now, and then we'll kind of go into what could be done to address it. So why is Shaman all of a sudden crazy? Like, it was, people were complaining forever. Shaman wasn't even playable, wasn't even good, and now it's broken. What happened? Well, basically all the main decks that kept it in check, which was like Soul Demon Hunter and Aggro Demon Hunter, one would just kill it, like you would go face and kill them, and it's still favored against this deck, by the way. And you would have Soul Demon Hunter, which had enough board clears and early presence to keep it in check, and then would burn it out. But Soul Demon Hunter got nerfed pretty badly with, you know, Shard Shatter and Blade Dance being nerfed, and Pole Celt. And Aggro Demon Hunter got nerfed with the whole weapon being nerfed, Pole Celt, and Voracious Reader, so they're not quite at that same level. And all of a sudden, the only things that held Evolved Shaman back are gone. Its contested bad matchups are gone, and it is just destroying everything. So what makes Evolved Shaman so busted? It's the weapon. Bogspine Knuckles is ridiculous. If you look up the mulligan win rate on Bogspine Knuckles, if you keep this 5-mana weapon in your opener, you win 70% of your games. They nerfed Scrap Imp, which was in Zoo, which was a bad deck at the time, because it reached that level, at that 70%. It was about that number. And now we're looking at Bogspine, same thing. Cage Match Custodian, which draws the Bogspine, has a slightly worse win rate. Slightly worse, but they're at an unbelievable high number. So, yeah, basically, once you get the Bogspine going, the deck is unstoppable. You just, you know, you play it, you drop a Dread Corsair, you have a 5-drop, and then your next turn you can follow it up with Desert Hare. You follow it up with Pitmaster or Derailed Coaster for a full board of 2 drops, and it's just broken. And it creates this board state so they're just unanswerable unless you're Warrior with Brawl, but you only got 2 Brawls, and once the Bogspine comes down, it's an endless wave. It's not like it just ends with 1 or 2 things. No, it's one evolve into the next, and then they have another weapon, and they have 2 Horde Pillagers, and you know, they're also dealing 4 damage a swing, which is not irrelevant. You know, if they swing face with all of it, that's completely kills them, because 4 attack 8 times over, that's 32 health. Like, it's crazy how, like, it just never runs out of steam, and the only way you can try and beat it is to aggro it down, but the aggro decks out there can't really do that. Aggro Demon Hunter is one of the only ones left, but the deck just loses to so many other things now because it's too slow. And yeah, control decks can't really outweigh this. There's just not enough board clears in the game. So why is this a problem? Why is it a problem that this deck is OP? There's always an OP deck, right? But I feel like the problem is it's just an infuriating archetype to face because there's little to no interaction with it. Like, once they get that weapon on, it's just over. There's that sense of hopelessness that you can't do anything about it. You can't play around what random minions they're going to generate, what they're going to do, what their stat line's going to be. Are they going to have charge, rush, death rattle? Who knows? You can't play around it. And the deck basically plays itself for the most part, so anybody can pick this up and just dominate with it, which, you know, that can be a good thing for the noobs and all that, but when it's that ridiculous and has a win rate across, like, all ranks just to be absurdly broken, it's a bit of an issue. And even, you could say there's counterplay. You can run an Ooze. You can run Sticky Fingers. That often at times isn't enough. Like, when you ooze the weapon, they just re-equip it with their Horde Pillager and keep on going, and you have that tempo loss. Hell, you can Sticky Fingers it, but if they have the other weapon, well, you're still screwed. And I think one of the most, like, things that indicate how unhealthy the meta is right now, when this expansion came out, when Darkmoon Faire came out, and, like, Bomb Warrior was really popular, Demon Hunter was really popular, all weapon-based decks. Sticky Finger was, like, in a total of, like, 2% of the decks in all of the game. 2%. Now that Shaman has been, like, doing well for, like, 2 weeks, that number has more than tripled Sticky Fingers is in almost 7% of decks now, and that number is likely going to go up because it's one of the only kind of ways to counterplay, right? You steal the evolve weapon, they can't re-equip it from the Horde Pillager, and you might have a shot of winning. And when you're forced to run a tech card, a hate card, that's just really unhealthy. That's always an indication that a deck is not good, because tech cards are kind of, you know, there for kind of bad purposes to like kind of counterbalance bad design and bad like decisions, and like, oh, you just throw that in there and you can win maybe. But even then, you've got to draw the Sticky Fingers. You have to hope that they don't have the other weapon. Or, as I was watching my friend Luker play Evolve Shaman in top 50 Legend last night, you hope he doesn't run it, because Evolve Shamans are running Sticky Fingers for the mirror or just to steal their weapon back. And that is just, I don't know, for me that is disgustingly that's just gross. And yeah, the deck loses to almost nothing. We'll scroll through two different win rate spreads. One is across all ranks, so if you're looking at this one, this is all ranks for Evolved Shaman. It literally loses to one deck across all ranks for the average player. Aggro Demon Hunter beats it. That's it. It's favored against absolutely everything else, and that is just absurd. And if you look, I'll show you also here the popularity of the deck. At Diamond 1, or at Diamond, it's like 30%. It's absurd. Like I said earlier, like Demon Hunter levels. And now if we scroll through like high Legend win rate numbers, only a few more decks are favored against it. You have the Aggro Demon Hunter, which is very favored, but you have Control Warrior, which is like 50-50, Control Priest, which is like 50-50, Zoo Warlock, which is quite favored, Whirlwick Rogue, which is pretty close, and Broom Paladin. And that's literally it. Those are the only decks, even at High Legend, where people are teching like crazy to beat Evolved Shaman, can beat it. So it's just too meta warping, it's too ridiculous, and it just leaves a horrible gameplay experience. Like, I know Rogue is really overpowered right now too, and it has a similar matchup spread, and the Edwin problem continues, but I feel like when you lose to Rogue, at least they're doing something. They're like drawing cards, they're comboing stuff, whereas Shaman, they just play a weapon and they just get evolved random crap and you can't deal with it and you lose. I feel like that feels a lot worse, and at least Rogue still does have that vulnerability to like Bomb Warrior, to like aggro type archetypes that go face. Demon Hunter can do well against it. But yeah, if you want to use that comparison, Rogue is definitely an issue too, but maybe that's a video for another day. But I feel like Shaman is just at such a ridiculous level. So what needs to happen? What needs to get nerfed? Like, what needs to be solved? Basically, it's the weapon. It needs to cost more. It just needs to cost more. 5 mana is just too cheap for its effect, especially with Shaman having like access to Lightning Bloom. You can Lightning Bloom on 3 into the weapon, cheat out a Dread Corsair at the same time, get a 5-drop, and then the next turn, while you're overloaded, you've activated your Pitmaster, you have Desert Hare on hand, and then you get like 3 3-drops or 3 4-drops or whatever, and you basically win the game unless your opponent's really ahead, or they have a board clear after board clear after board clear, which basically no deck can. And yeah, it's just not a good experience. So I think, honestly, only the weapon needs to go up. Like, you look at Cage Match Custodian, maybe you could bump that to 3, I don't know. But I feel like the weapon is the big problem. And you can tell when they made Cage Match Custodian, they had it all with, like, Doomhammer in mind. I don't think they were really thinking too heavily about the Evolve stuff. Particularly if you look at the achievements, it's like all about dealing damage in one turn. That was very Doomhammer oriented, and I feel like that was the original intention. And this Evolve thing has just gone way, way farther than they probably ever could imagine. So it sucks that I'm suggesting nerfs to Shaman. It has sucked all year, and it just sucks that every time with Shaman, it's either too good or it's completely unplayable. There's no in between. But I made a video, if you want to go back and look at that, I'll link in the description below, about the problem with Shaman. How it's either completely broken or how it's either completely garbage. There's never an in between. I went through the history of Shaman, and it's basically always been that way. And I don't think anything like that is going to change until, you know, the classic rework that they talked about will happen, and that they can maybe properly balance the class going forward, like they at least did with Priest. Priest has been playable. I hate Priest, but it's been playable, and that's fine. Unless you want it deleted, of course, which I do. But anyways, yeah, so I feel like, yeah, it should get nerfed, because it's just, like, I don't want to wait till April and deal with this crap until April. Just nerf it, rework Shaman, so it can be a lot healthier going forward, going into April, and then, you know, maybe we can have a healthier class, because right now, it's just really unfun, it's unhealthy for the game, and it sucks that it's either broken or unplayable. That's just the way Shaman is right now. So yeah. So let me know in the comments below, do you think Shaman should get nerfed? Is it frustrating you? Is it ruining your ladder experience? Or again, am I jumping the gun? Should we leave it alone? Shaman sucked for so long. It should have its time, even if it's completely busted. Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.